First, there's a big difference between the people of China, many of whom have come to this country and become outstanding citizens, and the government of China, which is now trying to bully Australia out of seeking an impartial investigation into the pandemic that started in Wuhan by attacking our agricultural trade. Although no one in an official position, of course, wants to admit on the record that's what's happening. But of course it is. We know it, and the Chinese people know it too. Indeed, one of the ways we know that vast numbers of Chinese are under no illusion about the nature of their government and the instability and insecurity of the communist regime is their eagerness to shift their wealth to freer and more stable jurisdictions like Australia, and their enthusiasm too for gaining residency rights in Western countries. The Chinese government's attempt to end the one country, two systems arrangement in Hong Kong and to isolate Taiwan are further evidence of the regime's paranoia and the enthusiasm of Chinese people to embrace freedom when they can. More than 500,000 Chinese-born people are now permanent residents of Australia, and there are normally close to 100,000 Chinese students here at any one time on visas that allow them to stay for more than 12 months. Now, these sorts of visas, even though they're temporary, also allow the visa holder to buy property here. And once their study is done, use the degree as a bridge to gain permanent residency to stay here in Australia. Now, who would blame them? But our inherent sympathy for people who want a life here isn't the right reason for a policy framework that says one thing to voters about how tough our border rules are, but allows something quite different to happen behind the scenes if you take the time to look carefully at our foreign investment regulations. As I keep saying, China is not like any other country that Australians routinely deal with. And what Chinese individuals and companies can buy and own here is not reciprocated in terms of what Australians can buy or own there. Sure, China wants all the benefits of trade with countries like Australia, but for China, trade and investment is about getting political leverage out of other countries at least as much as it is about win-win commercial outcomes. That's why Chinese companies buying into our strategic infrastructure like the 5G network is radically different from the investment of companies from Britain and America who are Australia's allies. And that's why research collaborations between Chinese universities and our own have strategic and security ramifications that arise with no one else. Now, we might make money in the short term out of all of this, but in the long term, at what cost, given China is more of a rival than a partner? So it's good, yes, it's good, that our government is standing firm on its insistence that there be a full, impartial international investigation into this Wuhan virus. And I understand very well the diplomatic dance we're in now by not officially calling the latest Chinese bans on trade an attempt at coercion, even though we all know that's precisely what they are. But with the Australian dollar lower due to the pandemic and disruption to trade and tourism, and with Australian property prices tipped to fall 10% or more, and significant vacancy rates for home units in all of our major cities, we need to be careful about further commercial exploitation. Again, credit to Josh Frydenberg for subjecting all foreign investment to scrutiny for the duration of the crisis. But that's only a short-term measure, 6 months at best, and that's no fix. As each day passes, there's no doubt that managing the relationship with China is going to be a significant task post-corona, and keeping our economy strong without compromising our supply chain or our trade exports is going to be a massive new challenge as well. And it's not a challenge that will go away if and when this virus does. Right now, wherever the government turns, there are big issues with long-term ramifications, all of them needing urgent attention out of this crisis, but permanently changing our investment rules so that every foreign purchase is subject to approval, not just those over and above a certain dollar limit, and that we think carefully about allowing temporary visa holders to continue to buy here in Australia. Now that would be an easy win.